everyone, it's been a while but I'm back making lots of sewing videos again now, and so in this video I wanted to talk about a dress that I made last year that I did quite a lot of filming for, and it was a really big project. So in Easter they announced the first ever musical theatre con in the UK, and there was going to be a big cosplay competition for it, so I wanted to make a really good costume. And I wanted to challenge myself with this project. My first thought was maybe I should make a phantom cosplay, but then I thought maybe a lot of people are going to do that, so I wanted to do something that was a little bit more unusual that not a lot of people might have seen or heard of. So I decided to make a costume from the musical Elisabeth, which is a German musical. It's been around for quite a while. It was first staged in 1992. So yeah, it's quite a long-running musical. It's constantly like being performed somewhere in Germany and Austria and in other countries in Europe, so it's very popular, so a lot of people know about it, which is why I kind of picked that one, because I thought maybe a few people might spot it and get it. The musical itself is based on the life of Empress Elisabeth of Austria, and so all of the costumes in it are actually based off real dresses that she actually wore. But unfortunately the dress that I chose to do, there isn't actually the existing dress still around, and the recreations of it are all sort of interesting takes. None of them are exactly perfect to what the real dress actually looked like. And the same goes for the musical dress. So the musical dress is actually slightly different to the real dress. It was a House of Worth dress that was created for a gala event for her, and it was covered in like thousands of these little stars with pearls and gold leaf and beadwork, and it was really detailed, and it was designed to kind of look like a sort of cloud, fluffy little cloud thing. So this is the musical dress, and I decided to take a lot of elements from it, especially those on the front, as from the original portrait you can't really see the front of the dress. Unlike the original dress, this one has a much more circular skirt, and it uses more warm gold tones as opposed to the cooler silver tones. This video is going to be part one, where I look at all the foundational stuff that I made for it, including the hoop skirt and petticoat, and then in the next video I'll look at how I actually made the dress, and then in the third video I'm going to discuss like the changes that I've made to it since then, and alterations and things I've added just to make it more what I wanted it to be. So this book was a really big help for me making this dress, as it goes through a lot of the foundational stuff as well as the actual dress that I used as the basis for this dress. So I looked at an elliptical crinoline, as I felt that that was more close to the original, and that's one thing that I wanted to be more like the original as opposed to the circular crinoline used for the musical one. I also looked at a lot of the sort of like underpinnings for like the corset and things like that, but I didn't actually get around to making a corset when I originally wore this, so that's one of the things I'm going to look at in the actual sort of like the edits that I do. But I also looked at the petticoat in this, and I then used one of the patterns in this book as the basis for the actual dress, but I did make quite a few little alterations to make it more like the original dress. I started by working on the crinoline, and to do this I cut out quite a lot of cotton fabric so that I could make the base of the crinoline, which is solid so you don't sort of like put your foot through it, and also the little sort of like back support pad part. So I used a lot of this plastic boning, which is really good. Like, I bought so much of it. I still have quite a lot left over, so if I feel like I need to use a little bit more or I need to replace some of it, I've got plenty of that. I also had meters and meters of this cotton tape which I had to buy, and then I had to sew it together to make it into these channels for the plastic boning to go in. The actual first step of making the crinoline was to make the waistband, which also included a small back support which would help take the weight of all the crinoline that is at the back, because obviously with this being an elliptical one there would be a lot more weight hanging off the back. This is normally padded to just add a little bit of support, and also if you put bustle pad underneath this to help the shape of the crinoline stay in place more, then it obviously helps with there being more surface area for that. The crinoline pattern that I was following had a solid cotton piece around the bottom. This is so you don't put your foot through where all the boning is and obviously trip over. It just prevents that from happening. So to do this, you just attach the cotton tape to the solid piece of cotton, and then this creates the channels instead of doing 2 layers of cotton tape together. I attached the vertical pieces of tape to the 3 rows of boning at the bottom, and then to the waistband and back padding, and then I slowly worked my way up the crinoline with the different rows of boning to create the shape. Once the crinoline was completed, it was time to start work on the petticoat. Now, I didn't really need to be very precise with this, as it needed to have a lot of gathering, so it was just cutting out really big rectangles of the white cotton, as I didn't really have any large pieces of cotton left, so I kind of had to piece this together to make it the right size. I sewed all of the smaller rectangle pieces together to make one huge rectangle piece, and then after I did that I realised that I needed a little bit more, so I had to add all these really small rectangle pieces, and then finally it was the right size. Then once that was done, I then had to make this flounce for it, which required a lot more piecing of the fabric, as I was starting to run quite low on the white cotton at this point. The assembly of the petticoat was quite simple, but it did take a while because obviously there was a lot of material in the flounce to gather to attach onto the bottom of the petticoat, and then I had to do quite a lot of gathering to get it all inside such a small waistband. And then there was the hemming, which took forever because it was about 3.5 meters of hem, I think, probably. So here is the finished petticoat over the crinoline. I'm sort of happy with it. It will obviously do the job that it's supposed to do, but I just feel like it could provide a little bit more support and have a little bit of a better shape to it. So this is one of the things that I'll probably look at editing and sort of tweaking when I make my adjustments and everything later. So thank you for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed this video and that you're looking forward to part 2 and part 3. Bye!